You're watching Channel 2 News. I'm Katu, and I'm your news anchor. Today we'll be talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis of the Cold War. It was the cause of tension between the Soviet Union and the United States. They were on the brink of a nuclear war. Today we have American expert Enzo and Russian expert Matthew.
Hello, do you have any questions for me?
Yes. How did the Cuban Missile Crisis start?
On October 14th, 1962, American U-2 plane was flying over Cuba and saw missiles facing towards the north.
What's north of Cuba?
The United States, more specifically Florida, which is approximately 90 miles away.
Where did Cuba get these missiles?
Cuba got the missiles from the Soviet Union. At the time, there was an alliance between Fidel Castro and Nikita Khrushchev, who were both communists. We opposed communism, so it was very frightening to see them join forces.
Why would the Soviet Union want to send missiles to Cuba?
Well, Khrushchev decided to send missiles to Cuba for several reasons. The first reason was to make Russia more intimidating against America. The second reason was to increase Soviet nuclear power. The final reason was because the United States also set up missiles in Turkey.
Oh, I see. How many missiles are there?
The number of Russian missiles in Cuba was quite large. There was over 50 long-range and intermediate-range missiles, and the Soviet Union sent over 20,000 Russian troops and technicians to Cuba. It was very alarming to see that they might strike soon.
Wow, that's a lot of missiles. What is your overall opinion on this? Who was at fault?
I speak for most of America when I say this, but I think that the Soviets were at fault. They should not have set up missiles so close to us. They were communists, so
Now I'll be talking to Matthew, a Russian expert. So in John F. Kennedy's speech regarding the Cuban Missile Crisis, what did he say?
He informed America that the Russians have set up missiles in Cuba. He told them that the missiles were capable of hitting cities up to 1,000 miles away, such as Washington, D.C., Cape Canaveral, Mexico City, the Panama Canal, and other cities. There were also long-range missiles that could strike up to Canada.
How did President Kennedy react to this?
He was very shocked, and he tried different options.
Can you tell us what his options were?
He could have ignored the missiles, invaded Cuba, ordered an airstrike on missile bases, asked the Russians to remove the missiles, or put a naval blockade around Cuba.
And what was his decision and why?
Kennedy decided to take the last option, to encircle Cuba with a naval blockade. He did it to prevent the Soviets from sending in any more missiles.
How did Khrushchev react to this?
Khrushchev did not react very well to the naval blockade. The naval blockade was the United States' way of showing aggression, and it sparked even more tension between the Soviets and America.
And what happened next? Was there a nuclear war?
No, but the United States and the Soviet Union almost started World War III. Khrushchev talked to President Kennedy, and they both agreed to remove their military bases. Kennedy would dismantle the missiles in Turkey, and Khrushchev would dismantle his missiles in Cuba.
Thank you for explaining. What is your opinion on the Cuban Missile Crisis? Who is at fault?
I think the Americans were at fault because they were the ones who set up missiles in Turkey in the first place. This caused us to feel threatened, so our great leader Khrushchev retaliated by setting up missiles in Cuba.
Thank you for explaining. Now we will be watching a reenactment of the Cuban Missile Crisis, which took a span of 13 days and less than 2 minutes. Turkey, Russia, Cuba, and the U.S. will be personified by their leaders.
Hey, Turkey, I know you coincidentally live next to the Soviet Union. You want to hold these Jupiter missiles for me?
Sure, I'll be happy to.
Hey, what's going on here? What are you holding? Are those missiles? Why are you pointing them at me?
They're from America.
Shady. Hey Cuba, I heard America tried to kill your leader. Want to form an alliance?
Yeah, but luckily they didn't. And of course.
Okay, hold these missiles then. Since America lives upstairs, it'll be easier to hit them.
Gosh, Cuba lives right under me. I must blockade them so they won't have any more imports with missiles.
Okay, USA, how about this? If you take away the missiles you give to Turkey, I'll take away the missiles I give to Cuba.
Okay, I will dismantle my missiles from Turkey.
Are you tired of other countries threatening to bomb you? Well, your solution is here. Buy our ICBMs, our intercontinental ballistic missiles. They're locked and loaded.
I'll be talking to Blake, the director of the reenactment. What inspired you to direct this?
I was alive when the Cuban Missile Crisis occurred, so I was inspired to share with the future generations what happened.
What do you remember the most?
I remember being one of the captains of the ship involved in the naval blockade.
What was it like?
My ship and other American ships were face to face with the Russian ships. None of us could back out of Kennedy's demands or we would be blasted.
Why was the naval blockade set up?
The naval blockade was to prevent Soviet ships from delivering any more missiles to Cuba.
How did the Soviets react to the naval blockade? Did they send more ships?
Yes, Khrushchev sent even more ships to Cuba.
Oh, thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
And that ends our report on the Cuban Missile Crisis.